this would make our life easier. We would have somebody who could help me out. And
Wait,
like
that
more
what would work?
That
exactly?
you guys would be like a throuple?
Yeah, essentially. I was suggesting
So the threesome
polyamory.
pitch bombed, but then you just started planting seeds of like, what if we were just all in a relationship together?
Yeah, kind of.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
For anyone out there that'd like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Today, we're speaking with a woman who reached out with the subject line, I fell in love with my fiance's best friend, and now we're a throuple. I've been wanting to have a conversation like this for a long time. We have not spoken to anyone that's a throuple. I think in the past, maybe we have had some, I think we've spoken to people that have maybe dabbled in polyamorous relationships, but this is going to be a very interesting one. So we've got the guest on. We're going to learn all about this story. So thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so really spelled it out in the subject line. You fell in love with your fiance's best friend. Now you're a throuple. So let's take this back for a second when it was just the two of you. Can you just give us a glimpse into that relationship with your fiance at the time?
Yeah, at the time that occurred, we had been together 11 years. We had 2 children together. We were engaged to be married. We shared a home together. And our relationship was pretty normal. But right around the time that happened, there had been some things that led to like a lot of resentment. But I mean, overall, we were a pretty normal couple. From the outside, everybody thought that our relationship looked enviable even.
So I'm assuming you knew the best friend during this 11 years at some point, no?
Yeah. So we met him about 3 years prior to that happening. And pretty much we all so it says that was his best friend, but we were all kind of 3 best friends, essentially, like 3 little amigos. He was coming over like every weekend and we would just always hang out. And he would help us out around the house. He would go on vacations with us. He was really involved with our kids. So we just spent a ton of time together, all together.
Oh, interesting. So who knew this person first? Your fiance did?
We kind of met him at the same time. We were hosting like a New Year's Eve party. It was actually our engagement party, funny enough. And he showed up with another mutual friend. And that's when we met him.
Wow. Okay. So must have really hit it off for that person to become so close and involved in your family right away. Can you describe this person a little bit? Like, what do you think attracted, friendship wise, attracted you and your fiance to this person, so much and so quickly?
Definitely just humor, the vibes just kind of matched. It was just really easy for us to all talk. And he was always the kind of person that comes over and is just super helpful and considerate and just a really kind guest. So it was just really easy to form that bond with him.
So you guys never thought it was like you're just saying going on vacation together. It was just you 3 on the vacation?
So there was 2 separate vacations that I'm recalling. So one was for my fiance's birthday. So it was him and then my fiance's sister and then my best girlfriend at the time. So there was 5 of us. And then the next one was we all went to Denver to go see a concert. And we stayed with some of my friends over there, but it was pretty much just us 3.
Okay. And I'm assuming you guys would hang out, just you 3, and it wasn't strange or third wheeling or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty balanced and we all just had such fun together pretty much.
Was there a specific event that kind of switched into oh, I may like this person more than a friend? Or was it this gradual sort of build up?
No, there was a distinct moment. So being honest, pretty much we were all taking psychedelics pretty frequently and partying quite a bit at that period of our life. And so it was almost every weekend we were taking mushrooms or something. And I spin poi. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. It's like a flow art. You can do fire dancing. It's really something I'm super passionate about, and I've been doing it for 14 years now. And my fiance, he would DJ, so I ended up teaching our friend how to spin poi, and so my fiance would DJ, and it kind of like created this dynamic where he has like his headphones on, he's a little bit like separated from us, and then me and our friend start bonding over poi, and he falls in love with it, and so he had been spinning for a little while at that point, and we would just spend every weekend where my fiance would DJ and me and him would spin poi. And there was like a moment where suddenly it felt like he could read my mind, and we were just so in sync, like think like figure skaters kind of, and like we just looked at each other, and it went from like totally platonic, I never even had a thought of him like that before, to oh my god, you can just see it in our eyes without saying anything, where it's like, oh shit, like there's feelings there. And so it was like simultaneously the most beautiful, like euphoric moment, but also like devastating, because I was like, oh no, what does this mean for my family now?
But did you guys ever like be like, yo, was that exactly like, are we feeling the same thing right now? Or you just kind of like, what was the conversation after that?
So I mean, we didn't say anything at that point, but like it was just like unspoken. You just kind of knew. And so there's also a little bit of backstory where so my fiance at the time, he had previously dealt with like a nitrous oxide addiction, which resulted in him getting spinal cord damage. I had a lot of resentment towards him. He wasn't like doing anything around the house. I ended up like super in debt trying to keep our house going. And I was like really resentful. He wasn't able to walk right for a while. And so that put a big wedge between us. And then at the same time, our best friend was coming over, and then he would be like the person who would like be my partner essentially, and like doing dishes and taking care of the kids and like being up early and like cleaning the house, like just normal things. Mm-hmm. And so that was also like an influencing factor of me just feeling like I was very unsupported at that time. So after that night, when I noticed those feelings, our friend, he went and slept like in the separate area on the couch or the guest bedroom or whatever. And then my fiance and I were just like in bed together, and I suggested a threesome. It did not go well. Let's just say.
Your fiance got angry?
Yes, definitely. And it's understandable. I mean, the thing is, previously we had threesomes with women before. So I was like, well, how about a threesome with a guy? And then he was like, who do you have in mind? I'm like, well, you know. And so then that just kind of opened the doors to having a lot more conversations. He was very upset at the time. And so we end up in like a pretty heated argument. And then our friend's like on the couch, and he's like hearing us argue from the room, and he just hears his name kind of being thrown around. And so he's not really sure what's going on, but he's kind of suspecting that he can kind of figure something out, you know? And so basically my fiance and I, after that, like, we're like unsure where we're going to go with this, you know? And
oh, wow. It really upset him to that point.
Yeah.
Plus everything else that had been happening. Okay.
Right. But then, you know, we had a lot of good conversations, and he basically, it wasn't so much about sure about our relationship, but more wasn't sure if we would maintain a friendship with this person.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
but then, yep.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So we end up like having conversations. Our friend now is like, sent a Snapchat essentially of him like really depressed and sad, because he's feeling like he's just going to be thrown away, and he at that point didn't do anything, you know. It was like just an unspoken thing. I'm the one that suggested it. We never even said anything. So he's just like, what the hell, out of left field, like I'm about to lose the two most important people in my life, you know. And so my fiance really didn't want to lose him as a friend, and didn't want to lose me. And so we just decided like, okay, we're just going to move forward, but like have like strong boundaries. Like me and him, our friend, like wouldn't communicate like independently. We never hung out alone, but we would just make sure like, you know, not to like have like extended hugs. Like it
Right.
kind of became really awkward because like I would be like, I wouldn't even want to make eye contact with him, you know? So
But
that's
you
kind of
still
where
have
we were at
feelings
that point.
for him at this time. Like ever since
Yeah.
the fire dance moment, there was no suppressing that.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of like was like a switch turned on and you
So
could
your
not turn it off.
okay. So your fiance wasn't like he didn't necessarily know that, but I guess the suggestion of the threesome, like he was afraid of something happening between
Right.
you
And
two.
then, you know, pretty much we kept hanging out the way we were. And then like I would just gradually keep telling him, like, I don't know. I just like feel like it's like meant to be. I feel like we could all make it work. Like, I don't know. I'm just like in this like idealized mindset of like this would make our life easier. We would have somebody who could help me out and
Wait,
like
that
more
what
income.
would work
That you
exactly?
guys would be like a throuple?
Yeah, essentially. I was suggesting
So
the
the threesome
polyamory.
pitch bombed, but then you just started planting seeds of like, what if we were just all in a
You know-
relationship together?
Yeah, kind of.
When did you start doing that? Like how soon after
Like probably like a week or two after that.
So can you just kind of walk us through why you thought that would kind of go well?
I didn't think it would go well. I actually felt like this is the most unlikely chance that this would ever occur. I felt like this is like so just like impossible essentially, but I couldn't help myself.
I
Like
mean,
I would
that's a
just
testament to how strongly you felt. But were you willing to ruin your relationship with your fiance to try to make this relationship with the three of you work?
at that time, yeah, essentially, because I had so much, I wasn't even sure whether I wanted to maintain a relationship with him independently, but you know, we shared kids together. We both come from families that are divorced, and it was always really important for us to keep our family together. But there was so much bitterness that I had towards him because of like the position that his substance use had put us in at that time.
So what made you like not even the pitch to your fiance, but for you personally, like when did the idea come to mind that the three of you could exist as a throuple?
A week later after the how do you bring that up? Like how do you just like softly be like, yeah, you know, like I know we don't want to have a threesome, but like what if we all like got married?
Yeah. It would be like, it would just be in my head while we're hanging out, you know? And it was almost like, so I'm very honest. Like from day one, I committed myself to my fiance that like, I would never lie to him. I wanted to maintain integrity in our relationship. And so I felt like me keeping whatever I was feeling inside would be like lying to him essentially. But it would be, I'd be like really nervous to say it, but then it would get to this point where like I almost like couldn't help myself. So I'd kind of like just like be like, well, like, you know, like maybe it's just like meant to be, or like just a picture, like you wouldn't have to like, I wouldn't bitch at you so much because I'd have somebody like helping me like with the kids and stuff. And like it just would like take a lot of pressure off our dynamic.
What was his like initial reaction to that?
Yeah, he definitely, well, it was funny because there was times where he seemed like he was instigating. So it was really confusing because there would be times where he'd get really jealous and then it'd be like, oh yeah, we have no shot in hell. But then there would be other times where he would like, it would seem like he's kind of encouraging it. Like there was one time he suggested like us all massaging each other. Like we have like a massage table or whatever, and we all took turns massaging each other. And he had me like take off my shirt. And so I'm like, wait, what? Like, how are you saying you don't want to do this, but then you're suggesting this, you know? But I think it's because like he wasn't even sure what he wanted at the time. So
You
there
probably
would be
saw
days.
like a sink full of dishes or something. And I was like,
But,
you know,
dude, I swear. He's like, it could be a little easier.
wow. Okay. So you did mention something that we can't gloss over. There's two kids that you got that you have with your fiance, and even in your pitch you said someone else that could help with our kids. How does that dynamic work where you know that now your kids will kind of be introduced to a third person in the relationship?
So this is so funny actually, but so there's kind of some more backstory of what happened, but one, our kids, like because our friend was over all the time, like he was already like a really involved person in their life. So it's not like a surprise random person who's just suddenly hanging out, you know, and they don't like, but then basically it got to the point, and we can talk about it later, but it got to the point where me and my fiance were going to separate. And not necessarily just because of this, but so he had stopped using nitrous oxide, but then I found out that he relapsed. And because of how bad it was for like him being disabled and stuff, I told him like, I refuse to be with you if you're using this. So at that point in time, I was planning on leaving, but he was in a very like emotionally turmoil state. I mean, this was a very traumatic experience for him, you know, and I still like feel guilt around that. But at that time, he basically, in his instability, shared with our son, who I think was like 9, that our friend's like trying to steal mommy away, and like you have 5 weeks to convince him to stay, or to convince mommy to stay. And you know, obviously that's like really not the right thing to do, but I don't blame him, because at the time he was just like really just not stable and scared and traumatized and whatever. So our son basically knows what's going on now at that point, like of like, oh, you know, whatever. And but then we end up deciding, it was actually my fiance who suggested like, hey, you know what, like I'm not going to use this anymore. Like, I know you want to leave, but like, can we please just like try to make this work? Like, let's just see if it works, you know, like, and so we ended up like going forward with it. And so we sit our son down and we say, hey, you know, how mommy like has feelings for her friend. Well, mommy still loves daddy too. And we decided we're all going to try to love each other. And his response was, that was what I was going to suggest.
Whoa. Wow.
How old is this kid?
He was 9 at the time. He's 11 now.
Wow. Okay. So, wow. So I guess,
do you think that your fiance kind of agreed to this out of sort of desperation?
And that's the thing that, you know, is partially why I feel guilty, because in a way, like it doesn't feel like it was like fully like something he was enthusiastic about. You know, I think he felt the fear that his family was falling apart, and that this was like what could potentially keep us all together. So that is something that I struggle with, but it was, you know, I was going to leave at that point because of not even the relationship dynamic that was going on or whatever. And so I do think that this was something that he did to keep us together, but in response, like he'll tell you now that like this was the best thing that could have happened to him. Like he would not have gotten sober. He ended up starting like seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist, and started like working on himself. And now he actually really enjoys the dynamic for the most part. There's a lot of challenges with it, but he really likes his alone time. He really has a lot of like hobbies that he's super passionate about. And now he gets like a lot more time to do that without feeling like he's like neglecting me, and that I can still be happy. And so it actually has like benefited us, and in a way, so we get more quality time together now, because one night a week, one of them will watch the kids and I'll do a date with one of them. And then one other night a week, the other one will watch the kids and I'll do a date night with them. Where before we like hardly ever had date nights, because it was just like trying to arrange childcare was challenging. And then, because of this also, like it deepened our level of like authenticity and openness, and talking about like there is no subject that we can't talk about now, you know. And we've had to like put a lot of conscious effort into our connection and our communication. And so there's been like so many positive benefits, but it was not without a lot of pain and struggle in the beginning.
How long have you been in this dynamic?
So now we're about 2.5 years in, and we all live together.
Wow.
How long have you been living together?
We moved in, he moved in pretty shortly, like after we started, like maybe like 4 or 5 months after we started. So we've been living together for 2 years now.
And I'm curious, like, how would you describe the day-to-day and the dynamic? Like, I know you mentioned like there's these date nights. So at least twice a week, it's a date night with one of them, but like day to day, what is that sort of like? And is there an even distribution of, I guess, caring and love and time spent together?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of like trial and errors, pretty much. Like we kind of went into this. I mean, I ended up doing a lot of research about it, reading a lot of books, joining a lot of poly groups, and meeting other poly people to like hear their story and get experience from them. But most of it is really just trial and error. So in the beginning, it would be like we would sleep all three of us together, like on the weekends, and then like I would do like 2 days with one, 2 days with the other, or whatever. Then we shortly realized that like sleeping three people in a bed just kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, like especially when you're in the middle, dang, trying to charge your phone or have a glass of water, climbing out, it's not comfortable for us. So we moved it down to like one night a week we would sleep all together, and then even then we were like, like this is more like for once in a blue moon when we have like a special night, like a date night, all three of us, then we'll sleep together. But now, and we like figured out with the calendar, now it's pretty much every other night I go back and forth between the rooms. I have clothes in both bedrooms. And then probably like once a week or once every other week, I sleep in my daughter's room so I can get like some alone time, because that was something I didn't realize I really needed until like, a few months ago. And that has really helped our relationship too.
Wow.
And
we all take care of the kids. We like switch off doing dinner. Like, it's very normal family for the most part, like pretty wholesome actually, but, we don't like use drugs like that anymore. None of us drink anymore. The friend, he like struggled with substance use too. And like, but I told him I would not go forward with this relationship dynamic unless he stopped using those substances. So we're all like very healthy and just like, a lot more responsible than we used to be actually.
What percent of the time is spent with the three of you together versus like you just kind of switching between the two of them?
So we do dinner all together as a family, but we all like work a lot too. I have two businesses. My fiance at the time, he has his own businesses. Our other partner, he works 6 days a week. So like there's not like a whole bunch of like together time. But we try to plan that like at least like once a month where we can get a babysitter and all like, we go to like the flow jams or something together. And that's been something beautiful too, is like we're all involved in this same community. And so we actually together like started these community wellness flow art events at our house. And so it's awesome to like build something together that would not have existed if it were not for like all three of our participation in it. And yeah.
All right, before we get back to this interview, we do have some sponsors. The first one being Squarespace. Squarespace is a website that you're going to use to build your website, okay? They make it very easy to create a professional-looking website, which is very important if you have a small business or a big business, or if you make content or anything. Usually a website is your landing page. It is your first impression, so you want it to look professional so people feel safe with whatever it is that you offer. So Squarespace is going to do a great job at creating that professional-looking website in just a small amount of time, because they have great templates that you can use. You just click on them, it populates this website already that looks beautiful, and you just switch out the text and the photos, and you can do that in just an afternoon if you put some elbow grease into it, okay? So not only that, they also have a bunch of tools that are going to help you optimize your traffic so you know where the traffic is coming from and how to get more people to your website. They have a lot of tools that are going to help you, and anytime we create a landing page or any website, we use Squarespace, and now you can too. And you can go to squarespace.com/OPL and you will get 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, so go to squarespace.com/OPL, use that code OPL, and you will get 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, enjoy. This podcast is also sponsored by BetterHelp, and that is online therapy. So if you want to get into therapy, you can do so using BetterHelp because they are just a fraction of the cost of in-person therapy, which can be very, very expensive, even if you have the right insurance. So it is going to be more affordable, and it also is great because it is online. So it's customizable. You can talk to a therapist at whatever frequency you want. If you want to do it every week or every other week or once a month or sporadically, you can do so. You just book with your therapist. They also make it very easy to jump from therapist to therapist. The onboarding process is very quick, somewhere around 48 hours. So if you feel like there's something pressing in your life that you need to talk to a professional about, you can do so through BetterHelp. And like I said, the best part about that is that it's more affordable than in-person therapy. So reaches a wider audience. And not only that, but you can save some extra money if you go to betterhelp.com/OPL, use the code OPL, and you will save 10% off of your first month. All right. So there you go. BetterHelp.com/OPL, and you will get 10% off of your first month. I've been in therapy for a long time, and I think that it works for everyone, even people who, it's not just for people who have traumatic events or anything like that. I think it helps to talk to a professional and like a non-biased party. So if you're asking me, I think that you should do it. Go to betterhelp.com/OPL, save that 10% off your first month. And now back to the show. And you had said earlier that like you brought up a threesome and he was like, what the fuck? But is that now something that's part of your dynamic as well?
Yeah, that we definitely do that on occasion. It's not as much as I hoped for, to be honest. But yeah, we do. They don't do anything together. So technically we're what's called a V. We're not really a throuple, but it feels like a throuple because they're like, we all like feel like a relationship all together, even though they're not like sexually intimate with each other. They're like closer than friends in a way, like almost like brothers.
Are they intimate with each other when you're involved or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But how often does that happen? That you got
like when we do the date nights, all three of us.
Gotcha.
I remember when I got married to one person, my father-in-law was like, the advice that I have for you is like, just never keep score in the relationship. And I'm thinking of this dynamic, and is it hard not to do that? Like, is there jealousy between them, or are you trying to monitor like, oh, I had sex with them, so I have to have sex with this person, and managing your time? Does that ever occur where one of them might feel like you're giving more attention to the other person?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a lot of what we had to navigate throughout like the first year of our relationship. I mean, it still pops up, but we found like a lot better of a balance. Everybody kind of has their own unique work that they have to do in this dynamic to feel happy and safe and healthy in it, and so one of the main lessons that I think both of them have, and me as well, have like learned is like that comparison is the thief of joy, that we are really a collaboration instead of competition. And everybody has their own unique things. Like I cannot recreate my relationship with one of them with the other. There's like, they bring out different sides of me. There's benefits. There's pros and cons of being the newer relationship and pros and cons of being the older relationship. There's things that, like even having kids, like with my first partner, that like really ties us together. And then with the second one, that can be a pain point for him sometimes. Or for my first partner, seeing like the new relationship energy that you get with the newer partner, but then with the older partner, it's like this like really strong trust and just comfort and feeling of like, you really know me through and through. And so, and part of like in the beginning, I used to get really in my head of like, am I, if we're all hanging out together, I'm like anxious, like the whole time, like, oh, did I kiss them equal? Am I looking at them equal? Oh my, like, I'm just like constantly scorekeeping in my head of like, is this balanced, and then if sometimes like, you'll get in a situation where somehow both of them feel like they're getting the short end of the stick. And I'm like, how is this even possible that both of you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick? Maybe it's actually even if you're feeling this way. Right. But yeah. That has definitely been a challenge, but it's improved so much as we've all gotten like really comfortable.
Has there ever been talks of like adding another woman to this dynamic, or is that like kind of out of the question?
I mean, so both of them like are allowed to pursue external relationships, you know. I don't necessarily think that they will though. So my first partner, he basically just really enjoys all this extra time he has to focus on his hobbies and things that he's passionate about. And I don't think he feels like he has like the capacity to be able to sustain an entire another relationship. However, he has like kind of had like casual things with other people, and that may occur in the future. The other one, he says he pretty much like just wants to be with me and that's it. But at any point in time, you know, that can change. And so part of like being in this dynamic is like just being open to whatever may come, which can be really scary. Like I try not to think about the future too much, to be honest. I just think about like what stability I do have and like what I can trust. And I can trust that they both love me and that I love them and that we're all committed to our life together. So even if a relationship did form with one of them with somebody else externally, like I don't necessarily think that they would be like included into the household the same way that we are. I feel like it might be like more of like a parallel type of thing.
Got it.
Do you think that this relationship with the three of you can last forever?
I mean, I dream so, I hope so, but I can't say that I know. So, you know, I mean, and we can't know that about any relationship in our life. So that's something beautiful too, is like really coming into the moment and just appreciating the time that you have. And I actually did like, I'm a little woo woo. So I did like a Akashic Records reading with somebody, and we were talking about the relationship and how it seems like this is like karma that we've been working out for several lifetimes, and I could totally feel that or whatever. And then I was like, I mentioned that like I feel like this is like the first time maybe that we've like figured it out. Like in the past, maybe there was cheating and betrayal, and it still does feel like betrayal, you know. But like at least it's honest, and now we're learning how to love each other, because really all it like. The pain point is that there was just too much love. It's like, but what they said to me always sticks with me, where they were like, it's not about how long a relationship lasts. It's about what you learn in the process and the love that you shared when you're in it, you know? And I'm like, that's a really helpful reminder, because people pass away, like people cheat on each other like years down the road, totally unexpected. Like there's so many things that can happen. And so I think just trying to just appreciate it for what it is now, and hope and keep investing into growing it. And it could be, I would love for it to be. That's my dream.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, seems like there's a stability now that didn't exist. It seems like there's just like a healthiness of you all as individuals that didn't exist. So it seems like you guys are thriving. I'm curious, as your children get older, have they began asking questions, or have they said anything to you about this, or is this just the norm for them and they've fully accepted it?
So, I mean, our daughter, she was still like, she was maybe like 1 or 2 years old when this first happened. And so I feel like she just doesn't have any frame of reference. You know, I think this is like her totally her normal. Our son, though, he actually said something really sweet and wholesome to me one day when I picked him up from school, and it was just like out of the blue, out of nowhere. And he's just saying, like, you know, some people think that like if you have a stepdad, that means your parents are separated, and he's like, that's not necessarily true. And he's like, you know, having 3 parents is like awesome, because I get more people to teach me things and I have more people to love me. And I could cry when I heard him say that, because that is, as a parent, it's like, are my decisions going to hurt my child? You know, that's one of my biggest fears, is that they will suffer because of my choices. And to hear that he feels just more supported and loved was really, really sweet and wholesome. However, one thing that he's going into middle school this year, so I'm curious to see how this plays out as he gets older and other people may become aware. Like, he had a friend come over from school this past year, and his friend's parents picked him up from the house, and they saw all 3 of us there. It's not like we're kissing or anything, you know, but I don't know if they put 2 and 2 together, but suddenly that friend like cut him off completely, no explanation.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know if it's our fault, but you know, that definitely hurts to think that other people, that he could lose potential friendships because of our choices. But at the same time, it's like we want him to be surrounded by people who are open-minded and accepting individuals. So
you're completely open with this with people that you come across in your life?
yeah, we're completely open. We have like a Instagram that we created together that we share about our life. It was actually like a very variety of responses when we shared it with people. My mom, I've always been kind of like go against the grain kind of person. So my mom, funny enough, was like, "Oh, it would be my daughter." Like that was her response. But and prior to this, I was actually calling my fiance's mom and talking to her. I told her what was going on before he even told her, because I was concerned about his nitrous oxide use. So before that, I had kind of like kept it a secret because I didn't want to like embarrass him or like, ruin the perception or whatever. I was trying to like protect him in a way. But I recognize that this is really dangerous and he needs help. So I called her and told her about that. And I also shared about what was going on because I wanted her to know that he was like unstable and to like be there for him and, whatever. And so at first, when everything went down, she definitely did not like me. And we used to be so close, but she really, really did not like me at the time. But over time, he really explained to her like that she wasn't cheating on me, that like I chose to be here. Like this is something that I told them I wanted to do. Like, don't take this out on her, because really we got here because he took responsibility and recognized his role also in this kind of perfect storm coming together. Because I even told him like 6 months prior to developing feelings, at the time he wasn't like pulling his weight or doing anything. And I was like, you don't feel some type of way about another man coming over and doing more for your family than you do? And at the time I didn't even have feelings, and he just kind of kept letting it happen because, when you're in active addiction, your priorities just aren't straight. So but now, we do family gatherings at our house, like for holidays, and all 3 of our families all come together and stuff,
wow.
which is really sweet. But, the men in our families, they definitely don't support really. Like my dad is very supportive, but both their fathers, so my fiance's father, he pretty much like has nothing to do with him now. And his grandfather also, like, their relationships like really harmed. They kind of talk sometimes, but like there's a lot of judgment from them. Meanwhile, both those men are like serial cheaters. Like one of them had another woman living in an apartment while he's married. It's like and then the dad is like hooking up with his ex-girlfriend who has a boyfriend. I'm like, you're literally doing the same thing.
Jeez.
Like,
maybe they're jealous
just
that you're just out in the open with it. Yeah. Wow. And then what are like the rules and like legally, like, can you get married? Like, is your fiance still your fiance? Are these both your boyfriends? Like, what is that dynamic? Do you not even put labels to it?
Yeah. So we're no longer engaged. We kind of just refer to each other as partners, because even though boyfriend would be like the proper term, I guess, it just feels very like doesn't accurately describe the level of commitment that we all share together.
Mm-hmm.
So we all usually say partners. You're not allowed at this point in time to legally marry more than one person. So that's kind of off the table for now, because it's just like, how do you choose that? And that could be very painful and disruptive,
Right.
But I know it is. I mean, I would love to do like some sort of like ceremony, like some sort of like all 3 of us, like celebration of our love, and I mean, I would love to refer to them as my husbands, like, even if we're not legally tied or whatever. And if I did get legally tied to somebody, it would probably be like whatever is like the most like beneficial for our family or whatever, if that were like financially or what have you.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, a very a complicated thing, but I mean, for, you've had experience for the last 2.5 years or so, and it seems like you kind of have an idea of where you want it to be. And the only thing that you can really do is try to make it work in the way that have been. It seems to be trending in the right direction from what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on and talking to us and, sharing that too.
Also, just
Yeah,
such a
thank you
crazy
so
like
much.
story arc from like the no to the threesome to
Yes
basically
to
getting to the point that you're
Yeah.
at now is wild.
I know. And that's why, I mean, if anything, it made me realize like I'm really good at manifesting things. So I think our future will be bright if I have this ability, because that was like the least likely like scenario I think would have ever happened.
Whatever works, I guess.
Yeah. And, before we wrap this up, I just kind of want to give you the chance. Is there, I guess, two-sided, is there anything you want to say to people who might find themselves in a similar situation but are afraid of the judgment and ridicule or anything that might come with it? And then at the same time, for anyone who, will listen to this or watch this and say, this is wrong, this is immoral, this is, whatever they may say to judge your situation. Just want to give you the platform to kind of speak to both of those people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So there's a couple things, one, the love triangle is like such a common story narrative that you've heard in human history. And it's always been like, you have to choose, you have to like, make yourself, because if you're in a love triangle, you love both these people and there is no right choice. And it's so painful. It's so challenging, and I think there is a third option. I'm not saying that's like the option you have to choose or that's the best option, but I think it should be something that people can consider and be open to as a possibility, because I think so many people don't even know that's a possibility and they will just, lie and cheat and stuff because they don't know that it's possible. And maybe if they had that awareness, they might, or maybe, there's certain people that are just inherently non-monogamous people, and there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But like, as long as you're transparent with the people in your life, and everybody's consenting, like that's really what's important. Second thing, about people, if they may be in our situation, is just by being authentic, you help to change that. Like if other people are judgmental, like I really think that it's just that they don't understand. People don't like what they don't know. You maybe heard of the KKK, the guy who converted 200 KKK members by just like befriending them. And so I think people just don't have a lot of representation in their life of polyamorous families. And they have this like misconception that it's all just like focused on sex and it's not really about love, or that it can't be like a healthy thing or long lasting or good for families. And I disagree with that. So if and it feels right for yourself, that's what's most important, is making choices that align with your wants and desires and needs. And as long as you guys are all communicative, and there's also like Facebook groups that I think are really great to be involved in, so you don't feel so alone. And also like take your time. You don't have to be open until you feel ready, but I do think there's something to be said about showing that representation, because there's a lot more people doing it behind closed doors that you don't know. Like once we never knew anybody polyamorous until we came out, and like all these people came out of the woodwork. So we were like, what? Like there's so many people that are doing it that just keep it under wraps because they're scared.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think
the
that's
last one.
Oh,
sorry. The last one, to people who are judgmental about the way that we choose to live our life. I really think it comes down to live and let live. Why let somebody else's choices and the life that they choose to live steal your happiness so much? Like, do not worry about what other people do. Like, that's not your life. You don't have to do it. You don't have to say that that's for you. But who are you to tell somebody else how to live their life and what's right or wrong? I think that judging others is actually, even in the Bible, it says, to the degree that you judge another is the degree that you'll be judged. When you judge others, it comes back towards you. It makes you suffer in the process by being judgmental, versus just being accepting and compassionate. It will just make you a happier person.
Yeah. I mean, well said. I think that in the spirit of that, what you just said, like, absolutely. I think, even if something you say, it doesn't really necessarily resonate with me, you have to at least respect people's individuality to be like, this works for you. If that works for you and, everything seems to be going fine, then if you're happy, whatever makes you happy, do that.
Right.
Yeah. But again, we appreciate you coming on and sharing, the details of, the story and your relationship. And I think it'll be really interesting to people.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform to be able to share.
Yeah, of course. And we wish your whole family the best of luck.
Yep.
And hopefully the comment section will not be too horrible.
I think it'll be all right.
We'll see. No, we appreciate it though. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
I mean, that's all you can really say, honestly. Like, it's a toughie. I mean, I do think, like, in the beginning there, that's why I was asking the question, like, do you think he did this out of desperation? Which, at the time, it did feel like that.
Yeah, like, I was going to ask her, but I was like, this isn't the note I want to end on, because there's no answer to it. But, like, would he, because of the way he said yes and what he was going through, like, would he ever want to go back to the old ways and kind of finish the journey of, like, we were engaged, let's get married, and it could be just us. Like, I'm ready for that now, but
I wonder if you're able to walk something like that back.
Yeah. And again, like, from what she said, I mean, he seems happy with the arrangement. I'm sure it's tough. Like, everyone's still human, and, like, those jealousies and giving time to everyone. But, it's like an extra level of communication and transparency. And it's, I don't know. That's just such a look into, like, she said it at the end, like, you think throuple and you think people in these relationships, and you almost paint it as like it's like a fun thing for, like, sex. Like she said it, it's like sex based, and you, like, see it through this, like, sex lens. And it's like, no, we're, like, trying to, like, have a household and, like, literally, like, raise 2 children and, like, be a unit and partners. And that's so interesting. And I think that is also the aspect that will definitely trigger a lot of people. And like the kids involved and, like, that dynamic. But it's interesting that it's like that is the reason. It's like, especially when there's a stable life, and especially when
there's 2 that aren't sexually compatible. I think it's, like, easier if it's, like, everyone can kind of, like, you know what I mean? But when there's 2 that are like, we're not, there's only one person who could provide that. I think, and then it's men. So, like, there's, like, an ego thing sort of involved as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think would probably,
like, she called it a V. Like, she's essentially, she's splitting the time for, like, the personal, like, romance relationships and, like, that one-on-one building. But then there's another layer on top of it that is, like, them 3 as a family unit holding their weight.
Mm-hmm.
It's
also,
it's layered.
I didn't even ask about this, but the one who's not the father, what kind of involvement does he have as far as parenting?
Yeah, that's interesting. But, like, from what she said too, it seems like he brings a level of, like, involvement that even the first partner didn't necessarily have.
Yeah, that is. I mean, if they can make it work, cool. That sounds very difficult. Also, her position specifically sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, like, that's a very difficult thing to
like she said, it's like, then she needs that one night that's her time to herself too.
Yeah, like, all right, I'm not on the fucking clock here making sure everyone else is emotionally, like, satisfied. Because that's what she's providing. Mm-hmm. I mean, other stuff too, obviously, but, like, that is, like, where it's coming from.
And with the children, I think you do hope, like she said, entering middle school and then high school, and you're entering that phase, and kids are much more perceptive and aware, and they're open about it, and you do hope.
And they're mean.
And they're mean, yeah. Then it's you do hope that kid can surround himself with the right people who are understanding. But I think like, that's got to be scary as a parent. Like, that's scary as a parent in general, a parent in that situation.
Yeah,
it's got to be scary too. But they are navigating it together. That's for sure.
Figuring it out, I guess. But yeah, for anyone else out there that would like to be on our show, hit us up. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok at OPL Podcast. And there are new episodes every 2 weeks. And like Joe said, send that email if you're curious. Before we got on with her, she said she had just discovered the show about 5 days ago, sent the email in, immediately contacted her back because we wanted to talk about this so much. So if you're on the fence, just send the email. You never know what could happen.
Yep, that is all. See you guys next time.